Did you know there's a lot of gold in Southern California? Do you live in Southern California or in that area or go to visit it? There's a lot of gold to be had there. In fact, I found my very first gold, my very first wild natural gold in Southern California because I used to live there. There really is some large amounts of gold in Southern California, and I want to go through the different counties and districts and go through that with you to show where you can find your own gold. Now, the largest, most productive county in Southern California has been Kern County, because Kern has the Kern River and part of the Randsburg area and a number of other districts that have been really productive. San Bernardino has some great places, including, like I say, part of the Randsburg district and part of the Dale district, Goldstone, a number of other districts in San Bernardino. Inyo County is well known for a number of areas, as is Imperial. Way down in the south, Imperial has the Muchacho district and Cargo Muchacho area. I found some nice gold out there by Cargo Muchacho. Riverside, it has part of the Dale area and a number of other districts out in the desert. San Diego, of course, is famous for Julian, but there's a number of other districts, Banner and other places that you can go in San Diego County. I've gotten some nice gold in San Diego, and even Los Angeles County. Now, who thinks of Los Angeles County and thinks of gold, right? But Los Angeles County, it's hard to say it, but you know, I've done some videos recently on the southeast states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and the gold that they have. Los Angeles County has produced about as much or almost as much gold as those three states combined. So you don't think of it being a big productive state, but I found my first nugget in Los Angeles County up on the East Fork of the San Gabriel River. It's a great area to find some gold. And of course, Ventura County has some good gold too. There's several districts. I used to dredge in Piru Creek back in the day when dredging was legal and I was younger. Santa Barbara, you don't think of Santa Barbara as having gold, but there's some beach gold in Santa Barbara. And Orange County, the Trabuco district, it's not very hugely productive, but there's even been gold come from Orange County. So let's dig in and take a good look at all the different districts in Southern California, because there's a lot of gold for you to find and a lot of places for you to explore, and you can be successful like I was way back in the day when I lived down there. We're going to look at a bunch of maps. We're going to go through county by county and mining district by mining district and the different mining areas. And we're going to look at places that you can go out and find gold and really just go through the whole thing, the whole of the counties of Southern California and the popular mining districts where people are out finding gold today. So let's take a look and we'll go in county by county and figure out the best places for you to be finding some good gold in Southern California.
Okay, so let's take a look at the gold deposits of Southern California and where you as a prospector can go in Southern California to find some gold. Now, first I want to show a map of Southern California, and I realize this is a big map and you really can't see much on here, but every little place where there's a black dot and a word next to it is a place where there has been found gold and gold mined, and so you can see there's a lot of places. Now, some of the places on this map have only produced a little bit of gold, but others of them have produced quite a bit, really substantial, literally tons. And we're going to take a look at 10 different areas. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Now, before I even get started, I want to make a note that there are many mining claims in Southern California. And just because you know that there's gold in the area, that doesn't mean that you have the right to go prospecting on someone's private claim or even on private property, because there's an awful lot of private property in Southern California too. Now, the main ways of getting gold, the three main ways, are dry washing. Here's a dry washer here. They can be purchased from several vendors, but you can also make one for yourself. Sluicing, where water's available. Now, most of Southern California is a kind of a desert or very dry type of environment, but there are places where there are streams and rivers, and sluice boxes can be used there. And then the other one is to go out with your metal detector. This is my friend Dan, who was in the earlier part of the video, out with his detector looking for gold. Now here's the 10 popular prospecting regions that we're going to talk about each individually. We're going to go through all 10. And we're going to start with the Coolgardie Grapevine area. Now here's a red circle that shows where in Southern California that is. You can see it's out north and a little east of the Los Angeles area, out there in the desert past Barstow. Here's a little closer view of the actual area and where it's located. Coolgardie is well known, but there's also an area called Grapevine that's produced some good gold with dry placers. And it's been done dry washing out there for many, many years. Historic mining happened way back in the 1800s, but things haven't changed that much, and we're still out there now with modern equipment doing similar types of dry washing and still getting good gold. Now, the next place we're going to look at is the Dale or 29 Palms area. This is an extensive area of gold mines and prospects that are east of San Bernardino and kind of west of Joshua Tree National Monument. There's a lot of hard rock mining out here, and this is principally a hard rock mining area, although I know people who have gone out with dry washers and done real well. But there's also potential for metal detecting. I know people who have found some very, very substantial amounts of gold in this area, literally many pounds of gold with the metal detectors. I know a guy who back some years ago found a pocket of nuggets with over 70 ounces of gold in it. Another guy I know found a single piece of quartz with gold shot all through it that had more than 23 ounces of gold. So there's a lot of gold to be found with metal detectors, and dry washers are also popular out here. Like here's a closer map that kind of shows on the west of this map is the 29 Palms area, and then it continues right across on the San Bernardino Riverside County line into the Virginia Dale or Dale Mining District and on into the Joshua Tree National Monument. Like I say, some really nice gold has been found in this area. The next area we're going to look at is the East Fork of the San Gabriel River and Lytle Creek. Now these areas are mountain areas, and they do have streams, and sluicing can be done there. And in fact, this is the first area where I found gold. And here's a closer up map of the Angeles National Forest and the East Fork of the San Gabriel River. And then over on the east side of the map is Lytle Creek in that area. It's been heavily mined for years. This is actually an old high-pressure hydraulic mine that took place at Lytle Creek, where they literally washed away a hill of gravel to extract the gold from it. Like I say, was a popular area with me when I was much younger and still lived in Southern California. I got my first nugget digging around on the East Fork, a little picker nugget. I was mighty proud of it at the time. And like I say, there's water here, and sluices can be used. In the old days, people dredged up here, but of course dredging isn't legal in Southern California or in all of California anymore. This is a broad area. Our next area is called the Eastern Desert Region. And you can see I've drawn it on this map. It's a very broad area, a large area in the eastern part of the state where there's a series of hard rock districts. And kind of like I described for Dale, this is an area where there's a whole lot of hard rock mines out here, many of which are rich pocket type mines. And so people go out here with metal detectors and have had some luck searching for gold in among the hard rock mines, looking for pockets of rich ore or rich nuggets. This is a kind of a view of some of the mining in the area. You can see a number of little prospects up on the side of the hill, a head frame in the foreground there. It's been actively mined for many years. Another area in Southern California is Holcomb Valley. Holcomb Valley has been very productive for a lot of years. It is also up in the mountains. Here's a topo map showing the general area. You can see it's just east of Big Bear Lake, which is a very popular recreational area in Southern California. Like I say, there is water here sometimes that can be used for sluicing. And when there isn't water, in places where there isn't water, there's possibilities for dry washing. Now, Holcomb Valley also produces some really large nuggets, and this is a very, very nice gold nugget taken from the Holcomb Valley area. So it's got real potential. Another area to the north in the area kind of north and east of Bakersfield is the Kern River region. And there's a number of mining districts here, both hard rock and other placer types of workings. This is a better map of it, and you can see that the area is just downstream and both east and west of Isabella Reservoir. Like I say, there is water here, water enough for sluicing. And of course, the Kern River itself has a decent amount of water, and there's a lot of recreational activity up here. But there is a lot of old mining, and some really good gold has been found in this area. The next one we're going to talk about is the Piru Creek Frazier Mountain area. This is an area that I enjoyed when I was younger and lived in Southern California. I used to dredge on Piru Creek from time to time and had some good luck way back in the day. It's a productive area that's produced a lot of gold. Here's a closer map of it. You can see Piru Creek. There's an area there toward the middle called Gold Hill. That's probably one of the most productive areas for this whole region of mining. Here's a view of Piru Creek. It's not a creek with a huge amount of water, but there was enough water that I could always dredge in it, and seasonally it has more water when there's rains and that sort of thing. Our next area that we're going to talk about is the Potholes, Picacho Tumco area, way in the far southeastern corner of California, up against the Colorado River and the state of Arizona. And in fact, in Arizona, just across the border, there's a number of gold areas as well. But in California, this is an area that's very popular. It's very much a desert area, but people dry wash there. It shows this is a large area, and historically it's been productive both for placer gold and for hard rock mining. The Cargo Muchacho Mountains was a favorite of mine back in the day. That's where the Tumco mines are. And then some of the other mines, Picacho mine was mined, I think, in the 1980s and 1990s. So there's a lot of activity here, and a lot of people have found some big nuggets, including multi-ounce nuggets. So it's a very popular area. It's dry, and so dry washing is a very popular activity for prospectors in the area. And also metal detecting. This is a friend of mine. Now, I know some guys are going to see this picture and saying, why in the world is he wearing a dust mask? That picture actually was taken long before anybody ever heard of COVID-19. So it has nothing to do with that. Actually, my friend had some serious health problems, which he later passed away from. But his compromise, the doctor told him, no dust, you can't be exposed to any dust. So this was his compromise, that he went out there with a dust mask and his metal detector, and was able to enjoy himself and find some gold. Again, a general view of this Potholes, Chocolate Mountains, a whole district. There's just a very extensive area with gold scattered wide, far and wide across this desert area down in the far southeast corner of California. Now, finally, we're getting to the Randsburg, El Paso Mountains. This is the district I talked about at the very beginning when I was shooting that video with my friend Dan. He has a prospecting store in Red Mountain, and if you're going to go out to check out this area, maybe see if you can find some gold for yourself, be sure and stop by and talk to Dan. He's got a lot of information and some good equipment and books and all kinds of good stuff. So he's quite a resource if you're going to check out this area. It's very popular with Southern California prospectors. In fact, of all the areas, it's probably the most popular. I certainly spent a lot of time here when I was in my late teens and early 20s, going through here and dry washing. I didn't metal detect in those days, but explored around, and it's a very interesting historic area. Here's a topo map that shows a little closer in. On the west side, you've got the El Paso Mountains, of which there's a number of different drainages in the El Pasos that have produced gold. The best known is Goler Gulch, but there are a number of other ravines and canyons through the El Paso Mountains that have produced a lot of different placer gold and placer nuggets. And in fact, that stuff, the gold of the El Pasos actually continues further to the east. You can see there's a description there called the Summit Range that continues all the way over there, and there's gold over there as well. To the south, you can see where Randsburg and Johannesburg are. Red Mountain, where the prospecting store is just a little south of Johannesburg. It doesn't really show on this map. But it's a historic community where there was both gold and silver mined in the early days. In fact, there was quite a boom here in the 1890s. And of course, when the prospectors came out here, sometimes they had cold weather and had snow. But this is the little old western town of Randsburg back in the day. You can't really see the mines in this picture so well, but they were just getting started. However, at the same time, there were also early day prospectors out dry washing out in the El Pasos and in the Atolia part, the Stringer district south of Randsburg, and in the Summit Range as well. And so it's been extensively worked for many decades, and a lot of club claims. There's a lot of club claims out here. A lot of clubs have claims because it's so easily accessible and the gold is so good, and large nuggets are still found. In a second, I'm going to show you that the largest nugget ever found with a metal detector in the United States was found in this area. But dry washing still goes on, just as it did historically 100 years ago. People are still out there finding gold. And like I say, the Mojave nugget, which weighs 156 ounces, and it's on display in the Museum of Natural History in Los Angeles, weighs 156 ounces, and it was found with a metal detector in the Stringer area, which is just south of Randsburg proper. But there's a lot of gold found in the El Pasos, some nice nuggets, and even some really big nuggets. This nugget weighs over 2 ounces, and it was found by Pat Keene of Keene Engineering, which is a company that sells mining equipment and that sort of thing. Pat was out there in the El Pasos with his metal detector, and you can see that's a mighty nice find. And again, like I say, there's a lot of club claims, and there's a lot of claims, period. Of course, there's private claims. And if you want to get out there, really, you want to join one of the clubs if you don't already have some special access. Dan knows all about the club claims, which clubs have which claims where, and he can give you some recommendations of which claims to join if you're interested in that sort of thing. Another area that we can take a look at here is in San Diego County, with a special emphasis on the Julian and Banner area. Here's a more close-up map of it showing the area. Cuyamaca was also had some gold mines, and the mines continued on further south. There's quite a bit of mining here, especially in the Julian and Banner area. It really was mostly hard rock, but there was some good placer taken out of this area too. And I've gone up there. I used to go up there with my grandparents and dig for placer gold, and I found some nice gold back in the day up in this area. So in San Diego County, east of the city area of San Diego, is a nice gold mining region. The Golden Chariot near Julian. This is an extensive hard rock mining area. There's actually a series of mines. The Golden Chariot is the one in the foreground, but there's several mines both to the north and the south of this, all along a kind of a fault zone that were very productive of gold. And in fact, the first involvement I ever had with gold mining was here in the Julian area. My grandfather took me for a tour of the Eagle Mine, which was open for tours way back in the 70s, the 1970s, not the 1870s, the 1970s. And it's, as far as I know, is still open all these years later. You can still take a tour there. There's still gold to be found in the region, and it's just an interesting thing. And actually, Julian, the whole area has become quite a tourist area. They have apple celebrations in the fall and that sort of thing. Another interesting area that you might be interested in is the Saugus-Newhall area, Placerita Canyon. Here's a closer map of that. There was a lot of gold mined here, and one of the earliest discoveries of gold in California was there at Placerita Canyon. There's some interesting stories, but this whole area, the Saugus-Newhall area, has really been built up. A lot of places where there was just hills and open spaces when I was young and lived in Southern California are now subdivisions and houses and schools and stores and everything else. So it's really close to LA, and it's maybe worth exploring, but access is maybe a little bit more difficult. The famous story of the Placerita Canyon gold strike was that a rancher who lived in the area was stopped under the shade of a big old oak tree, and picked some wild onions that he was going to have with his lunch, and noticed on the roots there was little nuggets. And so you see in one hand he's got the wild onions, and in his other hand he's looking at the little flakes of gold. And that was early day getting started. It was before James Marshall made his big strike in Northern California. Now, if you want to learn more about the gold districts of California, you want to study up on this, do some research and get more information, what I would recommend to you is that you download a copy of this Gold Districts of California. It has information on all the different gold mining districts in the state, not just Southern California, but Northern California too. It covers all of them. And it's designated as Bulletin 193 and was published in 1970. And you can, at a couple of places, find this book for free download as a PDF file. You can also buy it, I think. I've seen copies for sale for around $30. I bought my copy way back in the early 1970s when there was no internet that you could download copies for a free PDF file. But if you're interested, like I say, you can download it for free and look at it on your computer. Just search the internet with Google and use the Gold Districts of California by William Clark, Bulletin 193, and you should be able to find a place where you can download a free copy of this.
Now, whatever kind of prospecting you're doing in Southern California, whether it's metal detectors or whether you're sluicing like I used to do, panning, dry washing, I did that too. Whatever you're doing or something else, finding gold is a skill. And, just knowing where the districts are and that gold has been found there and driving out there, that's not really enough. You have to know what to do, what to look for. Let's say you put yourself out in a gold area. What should you be looking for? Which place should you dig? Should you dig here or over there? Well, finding gold is a skill. And, I wrote a book called Fistful of Gold to impart to you those skills. Just owning a good piece of equipment isn't enough. It's like owning a voltmeter doesn't make you an electrician. But owning the prospecting equipment, it doesn't make you a successful prospector either. What you know makes all the difference in the world. And that's why I wrote this book, Fistful of Gold. And then I've also partnered with an outfit called High Plains Prospectors, and they're a full-line prospecting equipment dealer that covers everything from a simple gold pan to a super expensive metal detector, and of course everything in between. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book, because it's been really helpful. I've sold thousands of copies, and a lot of guys have been very successful after reading that book. And then I'm also going to tell you a little bit more about High Plains, because they, of course, carry my book too. I'm going to tell you about the two of them both right now. This is my book, Fistful of Gold. It's an encyclopedia of everything you need to know to go out and find gold for yourself. It distills down my 45 years of experience out in the field prospecting, as well as my degree in mine engineering. It's, like I say, an encyclopedia. There's a lot to it. It's over 250,000 words long, hundreds of pages with hundreds of illustrations, teaching you what you need to know about geology, about mining districts, about techniques of finding gold. It covers metal detectors, sluicing, panning, dry washing, high bankers, you name it, it's covered in there. It talks some about platinum and diamonds, but it's mostly about gold, because gold is more widespread. It is not so much a book about where to find gold, but a book about how to find gold. Because even if you have a location where gold was mined in the past and you go out there, well, where should you look to be successful in your prospecting, to find the gold that's there? This is the book that's going to tell you that information. I spent most of 10 years writing this book, so I thought a long time about it. It's got, like I say, lots of information and lots of illustrations, and I've had results from people who bought it. It's available on Amazon, but I recommend buying it through High Plains Prospectors, and I'll put a link in the description for buying this book through them. They have a better price than Amazon, and I have a special deal that I'll tell you a little bit more about, where you can get a 5% discount from the price even with that. On Amazon, the book rates a 4.7 out of 5, which means that of all the people that have bought it, they've been really highly satisfied, and I think you, if you buy my book, will be just as highly satisfied as well. Now let's talk a little bit more about High Plains Prospectors. They're a prospecting shop, a mail order prospecting shop that I've partnered with. The deal is that I can get you a 5% discount, a coupon code, and I'm going to put the code to that right here. It's just Chris Ralph, all caps with no space between Chris and Ralph. You put that in there as a discount code, and you'll get 5% off their already really good prices. I think it's a great deal where you win by getting a discount. I get a little percentage of that, and they get new business. So if you need prospecting supplies, High Plains is really the way to go. And I'll put information, like I say, in the description, more about how you can work with them, because I'm working with them. They really are great guys, a great company. For even more information, I also have a website, and I'm going to show you my webpage and talk a little bit more about that right now. This is my webpage. It's located at NevadaOutbackGems.com. You can Google it, or I have a link down in the description below. But there's lots of information here, miscellaneous stuff, pictures, some historic information as well, stories. It's got a lot of great fun stuff. You'll probably be interested in it. Now, on all of my YouTube videos, I encourage you guys to ask questions. If you have thoughts, comments, suggestions for things that I ought to look at in my videos, things that you want to find out more about, and I answer 100% of my questions. There's not very many YouTubers out there that answer 100% of their questions. I'm one of the few. And so I will do my best to answer what you have. I mean, I only can write so much. Sometimes the answer is something where I'm going to recommend that you buy the book and read about it. I also ask that you subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification so that every time I come out with a new video, you'll be able to watch it. And like I say, I cover a huge amount of topics. I also have 250 videos that I've already done. And so you can go back through my catalog of videos on YouTube. I'm sure there'll be many videos there that you'll want to take a look at, especially if you have any interest in gold or platinum, diamonds, gemstones, geology, and that sort of stuff. My YouTube site is going to be right up your alley. So I'll see you again real soon. We'll be out in the field and back in the office at the whiteboard, and whether we're looking at gold or platinum, diamonds, gemstones, or other interesting geology, it's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy it, and we'll see you again real soon.